Right, I'm going to do a quick little video today. Anybody who watched the last video where I changed the screen on that electric light, they know I said I was going to give the bike a service, etc, etc. So what I have is, I tend to have a lot of bits and pieces kicking about. So I went on a ratch in my upstairs. I'll show you. I'm not a big warehouse with loads of space, but what I've got is I've got a loft in my garage which is accessed via that ladder. Now the spot's a shit tip at the minute, so you'll have to excuse the mess. We're doing it. We're doing our garden. So I know I need to tidy up in here, but at the minute we've got fence panels, posts, fucking bits and pieces all over the spot, so I can't do anything at the minute. But I was having a ratch to see what I had parts wise that would fit that bike service wise. I have a few oil filters, so I had an oil filter and it's the right one that will fit that bike. I've got a few different ones. I've probably got about 5 of them anyways. So found that. I have sets of plugs, just standard Harley plugs, which are absolutely fine. Before anyone goes, oh, put iridium in, put this in, put that in. I use these. The bikes are standard. They're not tuned. If they were tuned, I'd use different plugs, but for standard bikes, the standard plugs are fine. Now I've got 2 sets out actually, because ages ago I said I was going to service this before we even went on a run in it, and I didn't, so I've still got this thing to service as well. So I've got racked a couple of sets of plugs out because I'm going to do this, not now, but I'm going to do that. But on ratching, while I was looking for the bits and pieces of service parts, I know I haven't got any oil, so I've ordered some oil. I've got a cam cover gasket. Oh, I've got a few of them because I'm going to check the chain tensioner pads, see what they're like on this new electric glide. I thought I had some primary cover gaskets, but I haven't. I've got some, but not the right one for that. So I've had to order one of them. Obviously I've had to order me engine oil. What else was there? I've ordered something else for that thing as well, to do with the service, general servicing. Well, not general servicing, it's a part I'm going to replace. But with some oil filters you get your O-ring for your plugs, sump plugs. You don't with Harley Davidson ones. So I've ratched out me my O-rings. But while I was ratcheting, I thought, I wonder if I've got an air filter kit that'll fit that, because I've got a few air filter kits as well. Many of you know, preference wise, I like S&S teardrop filters. I just think S&S and Harley go together perfectly. Each to their own, you know. I'm not slagging anybody's filters off. You put on what you like, but I like S&S ones. But I have got some. I've got a couple of Roland Sands sort of type filters. I've got a Performance Machine one, and a couple of other different brands. But I also have S&S filters. And luckily, I had the new S&S typical. I've got an S&S filter kit that fits that. It's the throttle by wire, but I've picked the wrong one up. That's a not throttle by wire one. That's an S&S filter kit complete, but I've picked the wrong one up from up there, so I'm going to have to battle the screw and get back up there and get the right filter. But basically I'm going to put an S&S filter kit on it because I've got one. If I didn't have one, I wouldn't bother, because as I say, I'm not going to lash out money on that bike, because it's not going to be my main, but it's all I bought it for is to ride this year while I sort this one out. My other electric lights just here. But while I was ratcheting, I come across a set of Screaming Eagle plug leads. Now, these aren't the sort of thing I keep, but when I seen them, I remembered what I got. I actually bought these for an electric glide that my brother bought ages ago. But before I bought them, ordered them for him, but before they actually turned up, he sold the fucking bike. So, and to be truthful, I forgot I had them till I seen them. So I'm going to put them on. But the reason for today's video is while I was ratcheting, I come across a box which I thought was an air filter. That's the S&S filter box. Now, yes, as I've just noticed, I picked the wrong box up. This is for a let's see, which one is it? 170-0303B, and as it says there, I don't know if you can see on here, it says there for EFI Delphi, EFI Chrome, blah blah blah, except throttle by wire. So I've picked the wrong one up. I have got one for throttle by wire, so I'll have to go back up and get that one out. But I'll keep on to that for a second. In among all the boxes, I come across this box which I thought was another filter. So I opened it up. And look what we have here, a daymaker headlight, 5 3/4 inch, which is the same as this. Can't even remember buying that. I honestly cannot even remember buying that for anything, but nice surprise. So what the video today is going to be about is I'm going to change this over. What I'll do is, if I've got some, I might put a board up over there and then lift you off the camera, and I'll switch the bike on with its standard headlight on. Originally, if you remember, I was going to put this, when I changed this clear screen, sorry, when I changed the original, which is, I don't know how to explain it, it wasn't a clear glass on the front, it was one of them ones that like loads of lines all over it. And I changed that and put this clear one on. If I'd known that I had this daymaker, I would have put that on. But anyways, originally I was going to put an LED light bulb in there, but for some reason, I don't know why, the LED that I've got in my electric glide, because it's just a normal LED, I say normal, I've took the halogen bulb out and put an LED bulb in, which there is a video of it. It's fucking really good light. When I put it in this, I don't know, it just, the light spread of it was just poor. You know, it was like really blotchy all over the spot. Whether it's just the design of the back of this unit, I don't know. So I just put the standard halogen back in this. So what I'll do is I'll try and set something up for the light to shine against, and we'll do a before and after type of thing. I'll show the light with, I'll show it with the standard light, and then we'll swap over we'll put this daymaker in. Oh, I'm saying daymaker, don't get me wrong, there's nothing on the box apart from some barcode. It's not, let's have a look on the thing. There's nothing on it that says I think this is one of them aftermarket DOT SAE DRL. That's all I can see on it. But we'll see what it's going to look like. I mean, as I say, I can't even remember buying this, so God knows how long it's been up there. And it might be one of them where I put it in and we test it and it's absolutely fucking garbage. And if that's the case, it won't be getting used. So I haven't even plugged it. For all I know, it might not even frigging work. But I digress. We'll change it over, but first I'll knock it off. I'll turn the garage lights off. I'll try and set some up on there because it's just scrowl there at the minute. I'll try and get some on for the light to shine against, just so you can see what the light's like on it, and then we'll get it swapped over and see if there's any big differences around. Right, back in a minute. Right, I don't know how well this will show up. That is the standard light. Get more over the top of the. As I say, excuse all the scrow in the background. I've not had a chance to clean it yet because of what's going on. But as you can see there, if I just quickly turn this off and then back on, you can see it's brightish, but it's not brilliant. So I'll knock you off again and I'll set you back up at the front. We'll get this thing changed over and we'll get this daylighter thing, whatever you call it, daymaker thing put in. Right, back in a minute. Right, back again. Right, these things are so simple to change. You've got one screw on the bottom of your light here and the ring comes off. So unscrew that. This was never the best fit neither, this clear lens. It was awkward to get it to sit in properly. I mean, it worked, it lined up and everything for its MOT. Right, take them off, pull the plugs off, and that's it. All I need to do now is take these clips out, take this unit out, but before I bother taking all them clips out, I'm just going to plug this new one in and just see if it actually does work. So the what you call it's match up anyways. Yellow, yellow, white, white and black all line up, so something's right. I'll see if I can codge this into here and hold itself. All I might do is just hang it actually. Just hang it there while I switch it on. Well, it works. Yeah, it's the right way up as well. So it's going to flip over onto high. Tell you something, it looks as if it's going to be a... I'm fucking with the key now. Right, I'm just going to hang this back down while I find the key and switch this thing off. So it works. That's always a good sign. So I'll just unplug it again. Try and do this without dropping it. And the next thing I've got to do, which as I've just said before, take these clips out. So, typical, the right tools at hand. Now, right, I'm just going to knock you off for a sec. I'm just going to get a screwdriver. Right, clips. Best way of getting these out, I think I might have done this before. Put your finger over the middle of where the clip is. You can see in there, there's the clip. Just put your finger over it, so because these can spring and disappear. I think, in fact, when I did the video of putting this in, I'm sure when I took one out, it fucking shot off down the drive because I didn't have my finger over it. But basically, just put your screwdriver in and just lever that bit out, just in, and push it down slightly so it comes out from underneath the rim, and then they just lift out. So I'll just do that on all three. You'll see that the light actually starts pushing itself about. I can actually lift that light out now, I think. Yeah, and it leaves one of the clips in, as you can just see there. But you can't put them back together that way. So I'll just whip this clip out, which should be straightforward. And hopefully this should I think I might know where this came from now, or why I had it, should I say. Right, so that's the bottom. So obviously line that up. That's handy, it actually fucking fits. Come on. I do have a vague recollection of getting a light to put on a lad's. I did a bit of work on a custom Harley, and we were changing the, I seem to remember, should I say, changing the front headlight unit on it. This is a bit bulkier than normal. I just can't get my fucking fingers in to push the clip down. That's it. So that's the first one in. I put the first one in right at the top. You want to avoid trying to get your clips lined up with these. These hooky bits here is where the rim sits onto when you put the headlight on, and then it screws in at the bottom. So I put one right at the top, and the other one, oh you fucking ass. It's another thing you've got to be careful of, is when you've only got one clip in, because it's pressing down, it pushes the fucking headlight out of the bowl. So I'll just get that back in. I'll put the other two in just to sort of try and hold it in place. In fact, what I was going to say is I'm just having a bit of a struggle here, lining it up. What I was going to say is avoid putting your clips where these bits are. So put one in the top, and then say one at, for example, 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, or as you'd be looking at it, 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. But I've just noticed on the back of here it's actually got, even though you can see this, there's like a solid bit there and a solid bit there, and funnily enough a solid bit on where I've put the top one, so it's almost as if it's telling you where to put the clips. You don't get that on the Harley headlight, I don't think. No, you don't. So I'll just scoot one of the clips on each of them, because that helps keep it in place when you start clipping them in, like putting all three on but not clipped on properly, if you know what I mean. Just sort of get that to clip underneath and then push it in, and they're not in properly, as you can see. A bit sticking up, but it helps when I push this top one in. It helps keep the headlight in place in the ring. So back to me. Because of the size of this thing, it's awkward to get my fingers in. Right, I'm just going to knock you off for a second. Right, back to it. I've got a visitor then, so I'll knock you off. So, these clips, because of the bulk of this thing, like the weight, the size of it compared to the standard ball, struggling getting my fingers in, because normally I can push these things in with my fingers. So I'll get that. It's fucking moved now. Come on. Let's just make sure that's somewhere near, because it isn't. I've just realised it's twisted on me. I'm making a bit of a cat's arse of this, to be fair. There, that's that one in. So now I'll move on to these ones. Get that on. Grab my screwdriver. Fucking can't even get on the bastard. Get into there. That's that one in. And now the final one. Make sure it's on its bit. That's that one in. Cool as. So now I'll double check that it's sat in the ball properly, which it is, and plug it in and make sure it's actually going to fit in. Come on. That's it. Keep the right way up. that's out of the way. I'm just hoping that this big fucking bracket in here isn't fucking catching. That's it. Right, it's going to fit, but the wires are catching, so I'm going to knock it off for a minute. I'm going to take the ball back out, and I need just to position the stuff at the back of it so that the ball pushes in properly. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, after much head scratching, I couldn't get this thing to go on, and I'm lifting it off, looking at the wires, thinking, well, I'm pushing the plug right the way into the back, and I think, well, you know, the size of this headlight ball on the back, it just wouldn't go onto the rim. I even had to put my gigs on, so to make sure there was I wasn't seeing, sort of thing. Anyways, worked it out. The actual, because this new headlight's obviously slightly thicker on this bit here where the clips go on. The clips were closer to the edge where it goes onto the ball, and that's what it was sticking against. And what I had to do in the end, let's put that somewhere safe. What I had to do in the end was get it on as best I could with the bottom lined up. Got the screw in. The screw would go in. It would start, but it was like it wasn't all the way on round the edges. And it was sticking up here, so I have a little tiny rubber hammer, so I just screwed that in till it went tight, and then just tapped the top, just gently, not hard obviously, it's a fucking headlight, you don't want to hit it hard, and then it seemed to clip into place, and the gaps closed up on here, so then I just screwed it in. So it's actually the clips that were holding the headlight ball in that were causing the issue of it not fitting properly, not the plug on the back. I thought it was the plug catching it when I was trying to put it in. I'll take my glasses back off now. And what we'll do, in fact what I'll do first, I'll switch it on while the camera's at the front. I don't know how well you'll pick that up. I'll just knock that back off. Right, what I'll do is I'll knock you off, position you back over there, well, tripod out the way, and show you the light. I'll knock the garage lights off again, and I'll show you what the light's like. And then when I edit the video, what I'll try and do is the bit where I showed you the light before, off the old light, I'll try and get that clip, a little bit of that clip, and put it in and do like a before and after. I'll try. I'm not that digitally clever, if you know what I mean, when it comes to video editing. Right, so I'll knock you off for now, and I'll come back and we'll see what it's like against this polystyrene thing again. Back in a minute. Right, let's switch this thing on. What if I use the right keys? Turn it on the right way. So you can see that that's definitely brighter than the other one. And if I put it on to, see, when I switched the other one on, it lit up brightly on the main beam on there. But wasn't much difference behind it, so what I'll do is put that onto the main beam, and you can see that's gone really bright on there, but it's also lit up the back wall. So it's definitely a lot brighter. I mean, it doesn't help the fact that obviously it's not dark in the garage, you know what I mean? So we're just doing this in the daytime, but it's definitely a nice bright light. So right, I'll just turn this back off. Yeah, so that's the install of this new, zoom out a bit, in a bit should I say, out even, this new headlight. And what I was on about was the gap in the ring there. It was going on at the top, but it was sitting up slightly higher and wouldn't come on properly down here. And as I say, it was just them clips. I'm just going to knock you off a sec and put you on back on the trike. Right, so as I say, this was just going to be a shortish video, just showing changing this headlight. As I think I started saying before, I think I've remembered now where this actually came from. Lad with a chop, we were doing some bits and pieces, and I think I bought that to put in his headlight on his chop, but I think we ended up not using it. I'm pretty sure this is where it came from. We ended up not using it because we bought a different style of headlight, one of them like the long, go right to a proper point at the back with a peak on the front, and that's what we used on that. And I'm pretty sure that's where that headlight came from, because I can't think of any other thing, but that's the only thing that springs to mind. I can remember doing that, and that'll have been about 10 years ago, so that thing's been sat in the loft for 10 years. So yeah, so just allow a quickie video and a bit of an update. As I say, other videos are coming. I'm going to be doing the service on the electric light, changing a few bits and pieces. As I say, I'm going to be checking the cam chain tensioner shoes. I'm going to be, I'm not checking the primary chain tensioner shoe. I'm actually putting a manual adjuster in it. I don't like the auto adjusters. They can get it too tight. You know, I believe it or not, it was maybe, I'll say 2.5 years. It was just before we had all this lockdown with COVID. I actually had a lad come in with not with the whole bike, he just brought a gearbox in, and his main shaft that comes through to the clutch and all that was bent. And I said to him, how the fuck have you managed to bend that? And he was saying that he thinks that his primary chain had got far too tight. And so anyways, we got a new main shaft, rebuilt his gearbox for him, and he went and put it all back together himself, but he put a manual adjuster on, and it's been fine ever since, his bike. But I've since looked into it a bit more, because to be fair, I've done services and things like that on mates' bikes who've got the newer ones, but I've never come across that issue of thing. The more I looked into it, the more it seems to be an issue that these tensioners can over tighten these auto tensioners that are standard can actually over tighten your chain, your primary chain that is. And a primary chain that's too tight isn't good news. It just puts excessive pressure on your, well, even on the crank on the front. You can pull your crank out of true, and it can, well, I've proved that. I had the gearbox to rebuild. You can bend your main shaft in your gearbox. So I've actually ordered a manual adjuster for that electric glide. So I'll be draining the oil anyways. I would have been taking the cover off even if I didn't know about the issues with these auto adjusters. I still would have been taking the primary off, because the newer models don't have an inspection hatch on for the primary chain adjuster, should I say. They're not like the older twin cam, which anyone who watched the videos of me changing the oil in the primary, I had a little hatch that I could take off and check the primary chain tension, and if it needs altered, you can alter it through the hatch. On them new ones, it hasn't got that. It's only got the cover on, the derby cover for the clutch. But I would have been taking the primary cover off anyways to have a look at the shoe, just to make sure the shoe wasn't worn and that the chain's alright, etc. So, but yeah, I bought a what do you call it, a manual adjuster, so that'll be going on. And I'll video these. As I say, it'll get a coolant service, rads cleaned out and stuff like that, just make sure that all the cooling system's fine on it. Full oil change, engine, primary, transmission, new filter, new plugs, then plug leads that I've come across, which I know as soon as I saw them I thought I could remember buying them, like, but I'll put them on because I've got them. If I didn't have them I wouldn't have bought them, if you know what I mean. There are a couple other bits and pieces I might do to it, but no. For now though, it's just a quick video on a couple of bits of chit chat, but the main of it was putting this headlight in and testing it, which just in here, which isn't the best test, but judging it against that yellow halogen light, which halogen always is a yellowy light unless you buy them fancy, I can't even remember who makes them. Is there a name on the back of this bulb? No, Osram. Osram and another make is, they do them ones that have got like the blue coating on them, which give them a sort of a more whiter light. You could put them in, but as you'll see, as you've seen on the video, this is putting out a lot whiter light. And looking at, I've said this before and I'll say it again, this camera, I don't know, I'm not a techie electronics person when it comes to cameras and fucking video editing and all that sort of stuff. I don't even know if you can do it with this camera. When I put something bright on, like the headlight, the camera dulls down and it doesn't show the true effect of it. You get like a split second, but even that split second isn't as bright as what I'm seeing it with me eyeballs here, if you know what I mean. So, but the difference between this light and the halogen light, you can see the difference there. This is a much whiter light, and the spread of the light across compared to what the halogen put across is a lot wider. So I'm hoping it's going to be like a more wider beam. Oh, it's fully out. Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a slightly wider beam on the road, just for better vision into the ditches on the side and stuff. So yeah, for now, until I get some bits and pieces that I've ordered. As I say, I'm waiting for my oil to turn up, my AMS oil for the electric glide. I've already got AMS oil for servicing this thing, because I still haven't fucking serviced it yet, even though I said I was gonna. So what I might do is service the electric glide and then service this, film them both and put them in there. Like I'll put this in the trike bit, obviously. But yeah, So I've ordered the oil, I've ordered a primary cover gasket. I'm sure there was something else I'd ordered. Well, apart from that manual adjuster. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Maybe I haven't ordered something else. No. Anyways, when the oil and the stuff turns up, I'll film that. I'll film putting this manual adjuster on. I'll check the compensator. Just have a general check in the primary basically, because that's another thing that can happen with these auto adjusters. You can have problems with your compensator. Now there's kits out there to do away with compensators. They're just like a solid, do away with all the springs and things. I don't want to go down that route. They say it's standard. It's not been, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't feel as if it has. It hasn't been boosted like, that's the wrong word, boosted. It hasn't been tuned up, it hasn't had like a stage 3 kit put on it with bigger pots or different cams or out like that. There's none of that sort of thing in there. And I'm not interested in doing that. As I've stated in the past, if I wanted to go fast, I'd buy like a Honda or a Kawasaki or something like that. I'm not interested in going fast on my cruising touring bike sort of thing. So yeah, the standard compensator, it's fine for what I want it for. If I tuned it up, like made it a bigger, I took it out to 110 or something like that, had head work done, put cams in and shit like that, then yeah, I'd probably put a compensator kit on it where it's done away with all the stuff. But I'm not doing that, so as I say, when it comes to it, I'll film it all, we'll have a good look. If it needs anything, it'll get it. But yeah, I am, don't get us wrong, I will spend some money on it, because I'm one of them people. It's like, as an example, it's got black controls for the hand switches and all that, and I like my chrome stuff. I'm a bit of a tart that way. So there's a possibility I might end up with all chrome hand gear, but I'm not going to go stupid over the top spending money on it. It's bought for a reason, to ride for this year, while, as I've already stated, I get me ultra classic sorted. Now mechanically there's nothing to do to the ultra classic, it's just the cosmetics, the paint. I want to flat all the paint back off and give it all a good polish. But there's bits and pieces on the frame I noticed when I was doing the last bit of work, when I was changing the the rubber mountings and stuff. There's a few bits of rust here and there. No, serious, it wasn't like rotten or out like that, but I don't want it to get to that stage neither, so I'm going to, as I say, that's what I want to do. I want to strip this thing out, get rid of all the rust and just get it back to being a sort of a tidy bike again. Right, so for now, that's it. Ride safe, catch you later.